I'm Jiminy Cricket. That's good advice. Give the United way. Show you what I mean. United. Ah, here we are. United. That means to combine, make into one.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Ryan Erb, the Executive Director of the United Way Perth-Huron. What an incredible, what a challenging year we have come through here in our region and frankly across the world. It's been tremendous in so many ways to see the way that our community has responded, the way the United Way has responded to this very difficult pandemic situation that we've all experienced. And at the end, wow, we can still celebrate some things. The generosity of our community has enabled us to do so much. So let me begin with where we were at just last year around March, the beginning of the pandemic, when no one knew exactly what was happening. I remember the very day when we went into lockdown. Our organization, like others, was wondering how we were going to handle this new challenge that was in front of us. But thankfully, the United Way was in a position to help right away. As your 100% local organization that helps people, the most vulnerable in our community, we knew we had to do something and do it quick. We were very fortunate that we could essentially turn on the tap and start receiving donations immediately for what we then began to call our Urgent Needs Fund. It was amazing to see the outpouring of love and kindness from our community in those early days, how many people made donations over and above the donations they had just made to our campaign, which ended not long before. We saw companies step up. We saw many people in our community give 2 and 3 times throughout those early months as we were trying to desperately to help people in our community that were in need. The United Way was positioned to do so much because we have relationships with everyone, and we're grateful that we have that valued commodity, that people trust us, that people come to us, that we have that honored position. It's humbling to think of the opportunity that we had, and we were grateful for the chance that we were given to make sure that our community could be in a better place. The Urgent Needs Fund, to be more specific, did help us to raise money for individuals, specifically in our community, who were falling through the cracks. You might remember hearing stories about people who didn't qualify for benefits in that day. Perhaps it was an entrepreneur, someone with a small business, or perhaps it was someone on the edges, the margins, who just didn't have enough money, even with some of the benefits that they were receiving. And so we were grateful. In a very short period of time, just in a couple of weeks, we built a partnership with our friends at Social Services in both counties so that they could administer monies to give to individuals in our community quickly. We were turning things around in 2 days, from requests to providing support to people, whether it was for groceries, whether it was for medication, whether it was for car repair bills, internet arrears, all the things that we all of a sudden needed desperately at that time in order to keep working, to keep connected, to keep helping our children with education. And so we were impressed with the outpouring of our community and the opportunity that was there. We did a lot more work in those weeks. We were also working with organizations across our region. New initiatives like our Caremongering Facebook page, where over 3,000 people from across Perth and Huron joined to get the best information, the most critical and up-to-date information they could on the pandemic. We were so grateful for partnerships with our library friends who helped adjudicate those pages. And we were grateful to be able to help our friends with the student nutrition program, rerouting dollars that could not be used in schools because the students were sent home. We were able to ensure that people had access to fresh and healthy food through other systems. We were grateful to partner with the library GoTech and our friends at Festival Hydro Rhizome to ensure that people in our community who didn't have access to the internet had both devices that were donated by local individuals and also the internet to connect with the services they needed. We're thankful that our Social Research and Planning Council was able to survey the needs of not-for-profit organizations and that we were able to advocate with the government on their behalf. We're also thankful that the Social Research and Planning Council was able to work with the University of Guelph and to create something we now call the Transformative Resilience Framework, basically a planning tool that emerged from our community efforts and research to ensure that organizations could plan in the rapid pace changes that we were facing. Did you know that over 600 organizations, not-for-profit organizations, operate in Perth and Huron counties? And did you know that they employ roughly 6,000 people? This is a huge part of our economy, a huge part of our sector and our response to the pandemic. And so the United Way was binding together with many of those organizations. We had weekly calls with not-for-profit organizations trying to help them, trying to resource them with what they needed and help them share information among each other. We taught each other how to reach out to clients, even though we weren't able to be meeting with people in person. So a lot happened, and we found new challenges. Food security for seniors. How do we help people who are losing their business? Mental health crisis for entrepreneurs, for organizations, or people that were working for organizations that were struggling. Suddenly mental health, things like violence against women just took on a new challenge in our community. Waiting lists began to grow for services, and we needed to be there for them. So we were incredibly pleased when the Government of Canada chose to use the United Way to help people in the most dire situations across our regions. Thankful that the Emergency Community Support Fund and New Horizons for Seniors Fund were given to the United Way to operate. Well over $600,000 was provided to our region, and the United Way was proud and honored to be able to provide those funds to the community because we were asked, because we knew where the needs were. The government relied on us to get those dollars out. And that was only part of the picture. We were so surprised to see that we were able to raise, together with all those dollars from the government, well over $1.1 million. And we needed it. We needed every last cent. It's all been invested in organizations across our region. We're so grateful for the way that we were able to help. Again, whether it was to organizations that were providing groceries for seniors, whether it was to organizations providing the basic needs, food for individuals who were falling between the cracks. So many countless opportunities to help people with their mental health and challenges that they were facing. We even set up a new program in partnership with a number of other organizations. Invest Stratford actually came to us and said, we want to help entrepreneurs in the region. And so we worked with them, Family Services, the Community Foundation, and Community Futures, and we said we're going to try to help as many people as we can. So ongoing, there has been mental health support for entrepreneurs as a result of that partnership. Many other partnerships were struck throughout the time. We were grateful to be facilitating conversations about just about everything, whether it was meals from the churches, how do we operate and provide meal programs in this new world, whether it was organizations that didn't know how to use their technology or frankly didn't have the money to pay for the technology they needed. United Way jumped in and helped in many different ways. So the pandemic was a real challenge, there's no question about it, but our community rose to the occasion, and the United Way was at the center of many, many of those conversations. Now, specifically in Stratford, I also want to speak to something else that we started, the Hospitality Workers Fund. This was a special opportunity. Businessmen in our community came to us and said, we want to do something to support hospitality workers. This industry was devastated, especially in Stratford, and so many people are reliant on the Stratford Festival. But they had a challenge. They couldn't keep everyone employed when they couldn't operate their season, and all of a sudden many people were falling through the cracks there and falling through the cracks in general as the spin-offs from the festival not operating began to be understood. So restaurants wouldn't have as many people, obviously because of the pandemic, and hospitality workers weren't employed, at the inns and bed and breakfasts and other places, and so we wanted to come surround them. We were so grateful that together with those business leaders in the community and support from you, our generous donors, we were able to raise $18,000 over a short period of time this fall, and we've been administering that program ever since. So hospitality workers can still reach out to our friends at the local community food center who are providing that help on a day-to-day basis. The United Way, your 100% local community development organization that is here for us in the immediate sense when we have a challenge we're facing. We're here to deal with the unignorable issues of mental health, of poverty, of violence against women, so many others that are facing us day to day, but we're also here for you during the pandemic, and we will continue to be here for years to come. Thank you very much.
So give the United Way. Remember, it's up to you. Your contribution will help more people today. When you give the United Way.